Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a massive technological shift that's happening literally right under our feet. We're talking about why traditional keyword matching is rapidly being replaced by a revolutionary AI shift known as semantic discovery. And, most importantly, what this actually means for you as a content creator.
For years, right, we've all been told the exact same thing. Optimize your keywords, write those clicky titles, and stuff your descriptions with tags. But what happens when the underlying AI systems stop just matching text strings and start deeply understanding the actual nuanced meaning of your content? Like, what if the machine knows what your content is about better than your own tags do? We are essentially moving away from traditional SEO, where success was mostly measured by exact match phrases and raw clicks. We're moving towards semantic discovery. This new paradigm evaluates the underlying meaning and context of your work just like a careful human reader would. It's looking at the real substance, not just the packaging.
Now, a crucial thing to understand here is that these two systems aren't actually competing. Semantic discovery really just builds on top of traditional SEO. It adds this independent AI-derived understanding of your content's actual substance. So yes, your metadata absolutely still matters, but it now sits inside a much broader, highly contextual assessment.
Okay, to really demystify the dense, cutting-edge engineering behind this shift, things like large recommender models and vector spaces, let's step into a metaphorical language library. We're going to walk through 4 distinct phases that seamlessly map these totally abstract algorithms directly to a physical library system. Let's get into it.
Phase 1. The creator as writer. Crafting a multimodal manuscript. In this new system, you aren't just writing a standard book anymore. You're producing a multimodal manuscript. Think of your illustrations as your video frames. Your tone is your audio, and your text is your transcript. The absolute key here is semantic alignment. Your pictures, your voice, and your text all have to tell the exact same story for the system to confidently understand it.
And here's why that alignment is so critical. Your manuscript is being read by incredibly advanced systems, like Google's Gemini embedding 2. This model doesn't just read your transcript. It natively looks at your video frames and listens to your audio simultaneously. It maps all of that into a single, unified, high-dimensional vector space. To put that into perspective, think of it as a massive mathematical mat of meaning with up to 3,072 dimensions. It experiences your entire piece of content all at once.
Moving right along to Phase 2. The AI as cataloger, assigning the shelf address.
Once the AI has essentially read your manuscript, it puts on its cataloger hat. It needs to figure out exactly where your work belongs in this massive global library. Now, instead of assigning you a random, meaningless numerical barcode, the cataloger gives it a semantic ID. Basically, a semantic ID is a structured, hierarchical shelf address that's based entirely on the actual meaning and substance of your content.
So how does it do this? Well, it happens through a tokenization phase using a compression algorithm called RQVAE. The system iteratively compresses your video's substance into a sequence of codes. The first token points to a broad category shelf, let's say sports. Then the subsequent tokens drill down into the really specific details, ultimately placing your video into a highly specific book slot, like Volleyball Tutorial A.
The whole point here is that the old way of using flat, random IDs left brand new content completely stranded. It created this huge cold start problem because the system just had no behavioral data yet. But semantic IDs, they naturally group semantically similar items together. If your video shares a prefix with another popular video, the system instantly knows they're related, which just vastly improves how new content gets discovered.
Okay, Phase 3. The algorithm as librarian. Decoding the request.
This is where the recommendation algorithm steps in as the bilingual librarian. This librarian is powered by a large recommender model, or LRM, which essentially adapts large language models for billions of daily users. Researchers actually describe this model as performing generative retrieval, and honestly, it is a massive leap forward. Historically, a system would use what's called nearest neighbor search, basically exhaustively checking through every single book in a 20 billion item library just to find a match. But generative retrieval is totally different. Because the librarian is bilingual, speaking both human language and semantic ID code, it simply reasons out the answer to a viewer's prompt. It does this by natively generating the exact shelf address tokens for your video. It's not really searching, it's calculating exactly where the right answer lives.
Which brings us to Phase 4, the viewer as reader, experiencing semantic discovery.
So think about the person actually exploring this huge library. The reader's experience is completely transformed here. They end up discovering your book not because they typed in some specific keyword that perfectly matched your title, but because the system deeply, fundamentally understood their underlying intent and flawlessly matched it with your content's true substance.
And because you optimized your content for the cataloger, the librarian can effortlessly bridge the gap. It can recommend your content to a reader who didn't even know your specific title existed yet, purely because those semantic targets aligned perfectly. It's fulfilling unspoken intent and making it so much easier for viewers to encounter new creators.
Finally, Phase 5, the machine-readable layer and why optimization matters. This brings us to the absolute most practical takeaway for creators navigating this technical shift. You have to master this machine-readable layer. If your video frames, your audio tone, and your text aren't semantically aligned, if they're sending mixed signals, your content becomes incredibly difficult to parse. It literally becomes invisible to that semantic ID tokenization process we just talked about. And the harsh truth is, the librarian simply cannot recommend what the cataloger couldn't classify.
So, as you craft your next piece of content, I want you to ask yourself a question. Are you speaking this new AI language to ensure the system can effectively speak your audience's language? Or are you spending weeks writing an absolute masterpiece only to leave the pages completely blank for the machine cataloger? The choice is entirely yours. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.